I mean, they do heal. So I'm gonna carry at least like 2 of them. Some goose somewhere. What's the aim on the other rifle that I have? Oh, it's a lot worse actually. I do prefer this. I hear them. I don't see them though. What do we have in this room? Oh, Boone is gonna go for them. Alright, let's go to. Oof! At least our reloading is much faster now with the perk, so that's nice. I have issues with weight limits in normal games because I have really bad inventory management skills, so I would want to blow my brains out if I had to trim the weight down even more. Yeah, at least I'm okay with inventory management because I don't feel bad if I have to throw things away. I just like throw them away. I'm like, whatever, get out of here. So I'm pretty okay with that. For example, like Diablo 2, when I was playing Diablo 2, you would see that a lot of the time I just threw shit and didn't pick up items, like that sort of stuff. I'm not much of a hoarder is what I mean to say. I tend to care a lot more about progressing in the game than just hoarding items and whatnot. Ooh, I shot him. My son. I'm sorry, my dude. I'm sorry. Hello, Silent Grey Speaker. How are you doing on this night? I'm saying night now because it's probably not evening. Though if you're in Europe, it's probably morning for you already, isn't it? You can force your companions to carry any amount of ammo. It's hard to explain. But you just remove and add the ammo to the inventory until it all fits. I haven't messed up with my companion's inventory at all, but I guess I can try that if I get over encumbered. I'm a god somewhat. The only person better than me in the game is Easy Pete. Is he good at the game though? Easy Pete, it sounds like he will play on easy though. Maybe not. Where are we going like exactly? Like I kinda lost. Test site, research labs. So he wants us to go to the research labs, is that it? My meme was deleted from a sub, I'm sad. What, were you posting me in real life? Or something? I don't like subreddits, to be honest. I don't know, I tend to not fit well with Reddit. I think it's because a lot of Reddit is like United States culture. And I tend to not fit very well with United States culture. It doesn't work very well for me. Oh, here we are. This is the big room he mentioned, I think. Where are they? I don't see anybody at all. Oh yes, you should be careful, Trappy. Your companions can permanently die on hardcore mode. Sounds a bit scary, but I think he's handling himself pretty well. His full name is Easy Game Pete. Oh, I see. Oh, anime in real life. I see. I kind of hate that sub, to be honest. Just because people don't respect traps and trans women. But I guess it's just like people in general, I guess. But that's okay. There's some good stuff that sometimes that I see on Twitter from the bots that reposted on Twitter. But I don't actually follow any subs or subscribe to them at all. I mostly just see the stuff that's posted on Twitter nowadays. Because I kind of got sick of Twitter, of Reddit, and just stopped bothering me with it. Steady. Seems okay. You're not interested in finding cool shit. That's so sad. I could have shared plenty of locations where you could find them. Yeah, like when I was younger, I would play games and I would love to hoard items and just find cool shit. But as I got older, I kind of stopped caring more about like just progressing the game and just like the story, exploring. I kind of like started not caring that much about loot. I don't know. People always tell me, oh, there's like an alien laser rifle you can get. And like, oh, a broken weapon that you could get. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I care that much. I'm okay with this 5.56 rifle. I mostly just want to experience the game. I'm not really that interested in, I don't know, finding loot or hoarding items. I don't know. Maybe it's just me though. Really, the last time I saw a trap meme, the comments were all like, man, I want to be a cute girl. Maybe the comments on Reddit are a little bit better. Because admittedly, I've only been checking comments on the Twitter side of things. That is like they have Twitter bots for the subreddits that repost the memes, and a lot of people are very rude about it on Twitter. But maybe on Reddit is a bit better. I don't know. Trans are treated too well by the anime community for shares of traps and all. That is exactly why I stopped kind of caring about anime. Like, I used to watch a lot of anime, like, when I was younger. But as I grew older and kind of figured the whole gender thing out and kind of, I don't know, I just kind of got tired of anime, to be honest. Because, let's be real, Japan is a very conservative society. So a lot of the things you see in anime tend to come from a conservative culture. And that's not just when it comes to like trans people, also like gay people. If you watch like some animes that specifically like boy love, they censor a lot of stuff. And when it comes to traps, for example, it's always very like anime tends to be extremely rude about it. It's like never respects the characters as like however they would want to identify, which is how we would do in most of the West, right? A person wants to be a girl, identifies as a girl, dresses as a girl, you just respect them and treat them as a girl. That's not the case in Japan at all. And that reflects in anime a lot of the time. And that just kind of wore me down. And it just happens so frequently. And it just kind of wears me down. And I kind of just stopped caring about anime. Though I will say a lot of it is positive though. Because in Japan they do have a culture where trans expressions are well accepted, where they don't accept well at all, like at all, completely. They do not. It's trans identities, which is kind of different. Like they will accept if you are a boy and you want to be a girl and you dress like a girl. That's like very actually kind of common in their culture. What they do not accept is that you be like, I'm a like transgender girl. That's just not a thing in their culture. It's very, very tiny. They of course do have like LGBT communities and whatnot, and there is young people and there is like avant-garde artists and writers who are trying to make the thing a little bit more accepted in the culture, but it is still like very kind of like there, like it's not fully realized yet. They're still kind of like where we were 30 years ago, let's say. So, and that tends to reflect a lot in anime. And the thing is, when that comes in anime, the people in the West who watch the anime, they don't realize a lot of these things. They don't realize the culture differences. So they think they try to assimilate everything that's happening in the anime in their cultural context, and that tends to translate into a lot of transphobia and or people just like mistreating transgender people or mistreating like transgender people who enjoy certain characters, or just like straight up just mistreating certain characters in a way which can affect the people who kind of like identify with those characters. So a lot of that stuff happens, and that kind of like puts me off on anime. It's really just like Japan is just like fucking really conservative. Maybe if one day they're not so conservative, maybe I'll go back and watch anime, but nowadays I kind of like don't really care. I watch very few anime. Like I spent I think 5 years without watching any anime at all, and the anime I watched that broke my streak of not watching anime was Devilman Crybaby, which is kind of like a Western anime. It's not really a Western anime, but it was made for Western audiences. But yeah, it's of course not a thing that is talked about in all animes, of course. Like for example, if you watch Fullmetal Alchemist, these types of topics are just not in there. So you can enjoy it. I can enjoy it for sure. But it's also that I'm like kind of like really busy, don't have much time for those things. And like I said, it's kind of like games. I tend to prefer to like interact with people, like in spend my free time being social, than spend my free time playing games by myself or watching anime. I don't know. I guess it's just like I grew up and it just kind of got like that. But when I was younger, I definitely loved spending my time watching anime, playing games and whatnot. It's just, I guess I grew old or something. Well, I lost a lot of the chat. Give me a second. I do tend to rant up a little bit and can't read the chat very well, but that's okay. There are a lot of positives in Japan, but there's always some bad apple in the group. Don't get me wrong, Japan does, like I said, they do have a lot of positives. When it comes to like trans expressions, it is a thing that is not hidden in media. When you come to the West, a lot of the countries, for example, the United States, what do you see when it comes to trans representation in the United States in media? You don't really see anything positive at all. What you get is mostly like drag queens or like really old, weird trans people with like shitty opinions. and just the media tries to specifically only show you the negatives. There's never any positive representation, and that is something that you can get in anime. A lot of the characters tend to be positive representation for trans girls like me, at least, not so much for trans men, just because of how the Japanese culture works. But you do tend to get some like positive representation, and that means a lot, especially when you're young. You're still trying to figure things out for yourself, and you get like, wow, I relate to this character, I relate to this, even though, like I said, they do not respect or even consider at all transgender identities right now in Japan. You get like many characters, for example, like Ruka from Steins Gate, which is clearly a transgender girl. Like, it's clearly, she talks about it all the time, but the fact, like, the whole trans thing is never talked about. She's never admittedly treated for reals as a girl by the other characters. It's always kind of like, there are characters that kind of treat her like a girl, but anyways, I'm kind of going too deep into that. I don't want to get into Steins Gate specifically, but what I mean is, despite trans identities not being entirely respected in Japan, not being a thing in Japan as they are in the West, they do have a lot of trans expression and in representation in media, and that tends to affect us positively here in the West, though I would say it also tends to affect it negatively sometimes, when you get like the weeaboos who don't have any sort of notion about any of these things and just kind of like just so stupid. But that's kind of how it is, I guess. They think every trans person should just accept themselves as, for example, a cross-dresser, like a boy, which is kind of what it goes on in Japan. It's kind of like, if you are a transgender girl in Japan, you're mostly just treated like a boy. And you probably treat yourself like a boy. Like, if I was transgender here 30 years ago, I would definitely just consider myself a boy who cross-dresses. But now that I live in a place where transgender identities are respected and protected, and not just trans expressions, I can be true to myself, and I can learn to be true to myself as well. Because it's not just, I want to be a girl. It's not that simple. It takes a while for you to like actually understand what's going on with yourself and who you are as a person. So if you live in a culture, in a society where there's no such thing as being like a transgender girl, there are some cases, but it's a bit more complicated in Japan. They don't consider every, like, for example, I wouldn't be considered a transgender girl in Japan because I do not want to have genital surgery, and that is kind of like a requirement in their culture to be transgender. So they're still going through the process. They're kind of like where we were 30 years ago, and then eventually they'll get where we are right now, which is accepting and respecting transgender people. Well, they'll get that one day, but like I said, the trans expressions, the representation they have in the media can be very positive, though. Yeah, like I said, they do, like, I mean, Astolfo from the Fate series, Ferris from Zero, a lot of popular traps. Like I said, they do have a lot of representation, way more representation than most of the West does. Though I would say here in Brazil, we do have plenty of representation as well, very positive representation in media, actually. But like in the USA, you don't really. In Canada, you don't really. In a lot of Europe, you don't really. In Britain, you don't really have like any trans representation. So these trans girls from anime, even though they are not out as transgender, even though being transgender is not really a big thing in Japan, even though they're just treated as cross-dressing boys a lot of the time, they are expressing like their trans. It's like trans expressions. Like I said, I kind of divide the thing in like trans expression, trans identity. So even though Japan is conservative, it does not entirely understand yet the concept of what is a transgender identity and what not. They do have a lot of transgender expressions and representation in media, which can be very positive. Like you said, Astolfo's fairies, those are characters who are, like, for us in the West, a lot of us trans girls draw a lot of inspiration from them. And it is very positive, though it does also come with a little bit of transphobia from the Japanese culture, which a lot of people do not have the culture background. They just don't understand that Japan is not a country. It is completely different. Like living as a transgender person in Japan is completely different from living as a transgender person in Brazil or the USA. You know, though in the USA it's not that good, but in Canada, in Europe, it's not that good as well. But you know, we're still struggling with the whole thing. But a lot of people don't understand these things. A lot of people don't understand the subtlety of like the differences between what is the transgender expression, what is the transgender character, what is the transgender identity. And it kind of leads to some transphobia being translated into the West. But it's not that bad. Japan is definitely changing. Like in the recent years, these characters with transgender expressions have become a lot more common. Like you've said, Astolfo and fairies are very popular nowadays. Before, we did have traps before, but they were like very far and in between, and they were usually not, a lot of the traps are like, I'm actually not comfortable being a girl. A lot of that stuff, like, what's the name of it? Himegoto? Some of the other old anime, it was like, most of the story, she was not comfortable being a girl until like the end of the story. But they had a lot of that stuff going on. And nowadays, not so much. For example, Astolfo, she's very comfortable just being like herself. Fairies is like very comfortable just being herself. Though it also just comes with like a lot of the just Japan not understanding very well how trans identities would work. So a lot of the characters, for example, Fairies, calls herself a boy despite calling herself a girl too. It is very weird. It's just because the writers, is that just the culture they live in, these things are just not fully realized yet, so they haven't fully realized the whole thing yet, so it tends to not be as it is in the West. So are you going to move on? I'm sorry, it's just that it is a subject I enjoy talking about. So chat that, I guess. No, the chat is working. I think it might not be working on the... No, it's working. I'm sorry, it's just because I tend to rant a little bit. They are very unique people. They are very unique culture, and they're getting there. It's just, it takes some time. They've got some interesting mangas exploring social identities and issues. That is true. They got a lot of stuff like that, but they are like what we would call avant-garde stuff, which is like vanguard stuff, which is like, it's not really in the mainstream culture. It is like alternative culture trying to make itself known, trying to become more mainstream, trying to educate the rest of the culture. But they do have a lot of cool stuff there, and it's cool. You can't say all of Japan is bad against trans people. That's not true. But Japan tends to be a very old country full of old people. The whole culture tends to be very conservative, even when it comes to gay people. Like, did you know the first, like, Japan legalized gay marriage, I think 5-6 years ago. The first gay marriage was this year, a few weeks ago. It was like a pair of lesbians who married each other, which is great. But it's like 6 years after the legalization of gay marriage, they had the first one. That's how conservative they are. It's definitely a different culture. You have to look at it through different lenses. You have to understand the perspectives as well. But you should keep playing as you talk. I'm sorry, it's just that this is a subject I get very... And I know the boy is going to talk to me on the intercommunication thing, so I wanted to take a break and just talk about this for a little bit. I'm going back to the game though. Let me just read the rest of the chat. I feel like opinions on trans shouldn't be formed from a specific representation. People should at least listen and learn about every aspect of a thing before making their own opinion. Open-mindedness rather than following a mindset of a specific representation. That is true. Just be open-minded in general. That's good advice. There are some people whose only knowledge of trans and homosexual relationships is the vulgar drag queen stereotype. And yes, and that is exactly what I said. It is the negative stereotypes that is pushed into us from the media in a lot of Western countries. I can't say really in Brazil, because in Brazil we don't really have that. The representation we have for gay and trans people is very, very positive. But in the United States specifically, that is really bad. It is a huge thing. It's just like, it is very difficult to have positive representation, and the image that people have of, like, for example, transgender people, the image that people have in the United States tends to be that transgender people like sexual predators, or they're like all weird old dudes, which it's just, or like it's drag queens, and it's just like none of that at all. It's just like you don't see young positive transgender representation in media at all, and that kind of tends to uneducate people. So sorry, you talked more about transgender people and Japanese traditions. I'm sorry. Let's get moving with the game.
Alright, Smooth Skin. I'm letting you in. You better watch yourself. I'll sure as hell be watching you.
Let's go. Note the story. Move your character can do things I want. Sorry, is that I was going back and reading the chat. It's because I want to read the chat. I don't want to just leave it. Oh, you're not a goo. What the fuck? You're not a goo.
Your pranks won't work on me, Smooth Skin. They won't work on Jason either.
Smooth Skin? This skin looks pretty smooth to me.
Stop wasting my time, Smooth Skin. Go waste Jason's.
Alright, so this boy, he thinks he's a goo?
Go bother Jason, Smooth.
Alright, I guess I'll be gooey. Oh, that's really funny. I didn't expect that at all. Well, where is Jason then? Is somewhere around here? Oh, that might be him.
Hello.
Bright follower. Oh, these are goose.
Sorry.
Oh, these are just followers. These are not Jason. Let me check the map real quick. I'm sorry if I rented for too long. I didn't actually play the game. I just kinda... I don't know. It's just a subject I have a lot to talk about. And I will say it is difficult to play and talk a lot of the time, especially when you want to like focus on the subject in particular. So I'm sorry. Also, I had to read the chat, and that kind of has me like it requires me to all the time because I don't want to just ignore what you people are saying.
Jason will deliver us from the pain of this world.
What is this? Transgoo? Kinda, right? It's pretty funny. Well, where is Jason? I completely missed the dialogue. Requires key, that's not it. Well, he did came upstairs here, so maybe go that way too. Representation shouldn't be someone's entire purpose. Simply living your life normally, be it gay or transitioning, is the only representation you need to give. That's not entirely true though, because representation is also like education. So, and if you don't educate people about like trans or gay things at all, people are just gonna be idiots forever. And you don't want your societies to be idiots forever. Like for example, Canada. In Canada, they did a research recently, which was like, would people date trans people? And what was funny in the research is that like 80% of the straight cisgender men who said they would date trans women thought trans women were actually trans men. They thought trans men were actually trans women, which is the complete opposite, but they just didn't know at all. Why? Because they were never educated about it. So it's kind of like important, and media representation does count as it's a very good way of educating the population. It's not just you want to teach people in school. People tend to not learn that much from school, but people learn a lot from media. So it's pretty important.
Hello, Wanderer.
Especially for like
Forgive us our humble
such
surroundings.
minorities
Our true home
and
awaits us
such
in
like
far beyond. Have you come to help us complete the great journey?
the great journey and such new things such as being like transgender people, because gay people has been a thing for, I mean, it obviously has been a thing throughout human history, being transgender as well, but what I mean is it has become a more mainstream thing. It has become a more knowledgeable thing in the culture from like 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Gay people, I mean, especially in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, it became more well known. People became more educated about it. Trans issues is still like extremely new. Nobody's educated about it. Very few people are. So media representation, positive representation, is quite important. I'm here because of feral goose have been wandering into Novak.
And they've been shooting them down like animals, haven't they?
I mean, the feral
Those
goose.
ghouls were members of my flock, even after the madness consumed their minds. We never let them wander
Well,
free.
they were wandering
We
free
kept
though.
them safe on the first floor. We kept them contained. The demons must
The
have let them out,
demons.
somehow. And now they are lost forever, denied the salvation and healing glow of the far
Of
beyond.
the far beyond.
Please, Wanderer, bear in mind that every feral ghoul you spare now is one that we can save later. Once the way is clear, our feral brothers and sisters will accompany us on the great journey,
A great journey.
if there are any left.
Alright, give me a second, because I do need to scroll on the chat. I'm playing my game like a speedrun somewhat. Yeah, you're experienced with it, so glitches and exploit make things fast as optimized playthrough, I guess. Yeah. That's definitely not how I'm playing though, because this is kind of like my first playthrough. At this point, I haven't played at this point in the game yet, so this is all kind of new to me. Uneducated people will assume things, educated will understand. That is a good saying. Tell me more about these demons. Tell me more about these demons.
Except it might be more accurate to say they never actually appeared at all. The demons are invisible.
Oh, so they're like the Night King boys. I think I saw a lot of Night King bodies, so that's probably what he's talking about.
They set upon us as we were on our way to worship one morning. We had just entered the basement. My flock fought bravely and killed a few, but at such cost. Nearly half of us died or went missing. The rest of us retreated up here. One of the demons raved at us, but they have not tried to attack us since. Still, their demonic presence brought all progress towards the great journey to a standstill. But now you have come. Once again, the Creator has sent a human to help us across a seemingly insurmountable obstacle.
You say one of the demons raved at you?
Yes, over the intercom. Threats of death should we step outside. Guarantees of safety should we stay locked away. It went on for hours, and did not always make sense. But that was the first day only.
So I guess it's kind of like the ramblings that he wrote on the paper about the cows.
Will you drive away the demons, Wanderer?
Well, I'll take care of the demons for you.
Praise the Creator. Bless you, Wanderer. Bless us all.
He's so happy. That actually makes me so happy.
Has been rid of demons. Preparations for the great journey can resume.
Not sure about the great journey though. If you think everyone's uneducated about trans, please try mentally disabled on full size. Many people just don't understand people who have autism. That is true as well. People are just very uneducated in general, which is why media representation is so important. And here in Brazil, we do have a lot of it. We do have like the series we have on TV. They tend to tackle on a lot of issues: physical disabilities, mental disabilities, gay people, transgender people. Here in the media in Brazil, we try to give like a positive outlook and educate the population, but that's not the case in media or in everywhere, especially like United States, places like that. The media tends to just like demonify people. Is that a word, demonify? Demonize people and just like not educate people properly, just give false ideas of what a mental illness is. Even like things like autism, which you would expect people will understand at this point. It's kind of messed. Who are you?
I am Jason.
Let's just
Bright,
exhaust his dialogue. See everything he
prophet
has
of
to
the
talk
great
about.
journey.
Prophet of the great journey.
All the ghouls you see here are members of my flock.
Your last name is Bright. That's funny.
An auspicious name, don't you think? It was mine before I became as I am now. Before
the
the
Great
War
War.
even. Truly does the Creator author a destiny for each and every one of us.
That's a religious boy, isn't he? That's fine. That's a great
We
journey.
wish to escape the barbarity of the wasteland, especially the violence and bigotry of its human inhabitants.
That sounds good.
The Creator has promised to my flock a new land, a place of safety and healing, a paradise in the
Well,
far
is this
beyond.
gonna be a suicide pact type of
Preparations
stuff?
for the great journey were nearly complete when the demons appeared.
How will you make the journey?
The means by which the great journey is to be accomplished are an article of faith. Not to be discussed
That sounds
outside.
bad. It sounds like a suicide pact type of stuff. Yeah, that sounds vicious as fuck. It sounds like the whole, like, the thing you had in the US, which people, like, drank Kool-Aid and died. That sounds pretty sketchy. What is the far
I have
beyond?
glimpsed it only in visions, Wanderer, but what I have seen is truly miraculous. It is a place of light and healing, and I know in my soul that my flock will be safe there.
What's the deal with the human who let me in?
You're referring to Chris. I doubt you had much luck if you tried telling him that he's human. We had the same discussions when he first appeared, and the same lack of success. He believes he is one of us. Soon enough,
He's
we
right there,
realized
my
that
dude.
Chris
He's like just
was a
looking
gift
at
from
us.
the Creator. He is integral to the success of the great journey.
He's like actually just kind of like looking pretty sad right there. Like, fuck, they're talking about me. I'll be on my
Let
way.
me know when the underground has been rid
Alright,
of the
this seems
demons.
interesting though, a bit creepy. At first I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, they're religious cult, but they're like nice people and whatnot. And now I'm kind of like, why are they just gonna kill themselves? Just kill all of themselves? That sounds bad. But I don't know. I guess who am I to judge? Talk to Chris again, maybe?
Don't bother, Jake.
Alright, I guess he doesn't want to be talking. I'll abstain because I know this quest. The texture in his eyes kind of weird too, is it? Oh, looks fine. He's just a bald dude. Just a body dude. That's okay. Alright, so we're supposed to help them by getting rid of the Nightkin in the basement, so we need to get down.
Hey there.
Alright. This seems to be the way. I'm curious where this is going though. Door to Repcon test site requires key. We do not have that. I think the entrance we came from is like over here. When you were speaking with him, Bright's head texture was funky. Oh, you mean Bright, not the doc or whatever his name is. You know why? Cool. Alright, so we go into the basement. Let's go. Time to actually make some progress on Fallout after renting for like half an hour. Sorry about that. It's like I said, it can be difficult to rant about something while playing. That's something I really admire in some Let's Players, like for example Nordline. He can just like actually just keep playing the game while ranting. That's like crazy. Wow, that requires so much skill. I almost shot you, my dude. Don't run at me like that. It spooks the fuck out of me. But I guess it might be a skill that you develop with time. So maybe with a bit more time streaming, I'll get better at it. So it seems like the basement's over here. I hope so. Oh, maybe it's this way actually. Repcon basement. There we go. It's just a square texture than darker than the others. And sometimes it is an old game. It's not that old, but it's kind of like old at this point.
Dark
So
in here. If you want to use a scope, I can spot for you. Keep you on target.
I don't think I had a scope though, my dude. So it's what it is, isn't it? I want to be using this rifle. I might actually want to use a shotgun here because I think they're like lightly armored, right? So maybe the shotgun would be slightly better. Have you ever played Fortnite? Yes, I have. I actually streamed. It was one of the first streams I ever did. It was like Fortnite with my boyfriend and a friend. Ah! But I haven't played it in forever though. Like 5 months, I think. It wasn't my favorite game, to be honest. I didn't like how it focuses way too much on building when I kind of just wanted to play a shooter. Which is why I kind of pivoted from Fortnite to Rainbow Six Siege after a while. Oh! There we go, it's not bad. Literally the Night King scared me. It scared me as well. That was pretty spooky. They don't seem that difficult to handle though. I'll take the stealthy boy. Those seem pretty useful. What do we have here? Jail key. Interesting. Let's explore this room now. Nothing on the computer. But Fortnite is fun though. I did enjoy it. It's not that bad. But yeah, I did eventually kind of pivot from Fortnite to Rainbow Six Siege. Oh, there was another one there. There we go. I don't think Silent is giving off bad vibes. I think he's fine. He's a good boy. Or maybe a good girl, I guess. I didn't even ask. I hear... No, that was just you. That's okay. Well, are you out of ammo? Does he run out of ammo, actually? Let me see his
Fine by
inventory.
me.
Like, he does not have any ammo on him. Do I need to give him ammo? It also does not say what his weapon is, so I'd assume not. Nah, it seems like he's fine. What is this? Door open?
Never mind.
I found it hard to aim. I think I have an issue with third-person aiming. And the focus on beauty was annoying too. I didn't find aiming that difficult. Though I did find shotguns, the pump shotgun was a bit too strong. Like every engagement I had in Fortnite just ended up being about just running into people with a pump shotgun.
Antler says you are the one killing my Ken. Antler says you
So-
must die.
Wait, what?
I see you.
Fuck! Is that really it? No dialogue, no anything. Oof, I'm out of ammo on that. There we go. Wow, I wanted to talk to him. I hate when the game makes me kill people instead of talking to them. Davidson kill. Who the fuck is Antler? Oh, I guess this is Antler. That explains it. Boys, gender neutral. Maybe not. Boone has infinite ammo for his gun, but if you ever give him a gun of your own, you need ammo for it. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you. Ghosty can always use the useful Fallout New Vegas knowledge. Thank you. We're actually very low on HP. We might actually want to eat something here. Actual food. We do have a lot of like steaks, so it's not bad. Like this. Okay, like a couple of those. And maybe a dirty water. The skull doesn't even have antlers, those are horns. I guess I should. I don't even know what defines an antler specifically, to be honest. I guess I should, those are horns. Oh, Bjorn, thank you very much for the follows. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shotguns are 80% of the kills in Fortnite. Imbued is kind of bad mechanic too, in my opinion. I don't know, I don't think it's bad. It's just not what I wanted to focus on while playing Fortnite. I kind of wanted to, I don't know, just play like an action FPS. I guess not FPS, but like shooting game. Kind of like, for example, Quake 3. That's kind of what I expected. And ooh. I definitely did not expect such a huge focus on building, which was okay. I'm bad at it, but it's okay. But like I said, I had a bit more fun with like Rainbow Six Siege for sure. It's a disco. I don't know how you'd recognize the enemy from there. It kind of looked like a cow skull to me, but maybe. Not recognize the enemy, the animal from there. What is this? I can't actually press it. People just build over and over. My battles last a long time. A single bullet goes near them and they build themselves a little tower with their peak shit. I mean, with an assault rifle. I think that's kind of how the game's supposed to be, though, I guess. Well, I thought that was a person, but just a little smoke. It can be fun, don't get me wrong. I did have fun with it. It's just, I don't know. I love Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah, we used to play a lot, me and Malipan. Though I kind of fell out of playing Rainbow Six Siege a while ago. Mostly because I started streaming a bit late, and when it gets late like this, there's nobody to play with. When I was streaming a bit earlier, then I had a lot of people to play Rainbow Six Siege with. And that was a lot of fun. But I kind of started having like way too much stuff to do during the daytime. To the point where even if I got home earlier, I would just like be so tired that I would just like fall asleep. Oh, hello, Bloodbath McGrath. It's been a while. How are you doing? This is where we came from. Alright, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit lost here. Did we get any progress on the quest? Get rid of the Night King in the basement? I guess not. Have you ever heard of the tragedy of Dark Plagueis the Wise? Yes, I have. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I've heard the meme before. It's like the Sith was like very strong. Not exactly sure what happened though. If you want to tell me again, I'll surely listen. It wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. I prefer to focus on shooting and tactics around existing cover. Yeah, that's why I did like Rainbow Six Siege a bit better. It's a really good game. Rainbow Six Siege, that is. We can still play in times like this. I have university most of the days of the week though. Yeah. I'll go back to it eventually. Like, Dick is coming back in 10 days. So when he's back, I'll definitely be playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege with him. And then we can play together again as well, Malipun. That could be fun. But right now I'm doing some single player stuff like Mountain Blade, Fallout New Vegas. So I just woke up. It's 2 a.m. here. It's 4 a.m. here, so we actually live pretty closely. I think we live like the eastern coast of the United States, maybe the center. What is this? Those are rockets. And a coffee mug. And a magical clipboard. Interesting. It's 12 a.m. where I live. So 12 a.m. It's like midnight, right? Or is it midday? I never know. I got so confused with the whole PM, AM sort of thing. That's okay. Oh, hey Gwen. How are you doing? Go to bed. I'll go in a bit. I'm kind of intrigued with this quest, to be honest. I kind of wanna see where this takes us. What is this? Can we listen to it? I guess not. But yeah, I've been playing for 5 hours, so definitely need to sleep at some point. Oh no, a mod quick hide the memes. Oh yeah, actually, Gwen is a mod. I completely forgot about that. Climb a ladder to Mojave Wasteland. I live in Illinois. It's in the middle. That is what I would think, yeah.